Hello, my name is Andy Fox and I farm sheep and beef about an hour's drive north of Christchurch in the South Island of New Zealand. Our operation is 4,000 acres or 1,600 hectares and we run 6,000 Romney ewes and about 250 beef cattle. The farm was settled by my great-grandfather who immigrated from Somerset in England in 1870, and he took up this block of land in 1877 and we've been farming it ever since. I'm married to Kath and I have 3 adult sons, and fortunately or unfortunately they all want to farm, so I've got myself a problem. During the time that I've farmed here, and it's been about 30 years of farming, we've had quite a few adverse events. So in the last 10 years, 2011 we had the Christchurch earthquake, which affected us a little bit here. 2015 to 2017 we had a really bad drought, which knocked us around. So for a whole year, every day that I put my farming boots on, I lost $1,000 that day. So that's quite hard to deal with psychologically, and I noticed that some things that I did work really well for me and other things different. And then when we were coming out of that drought, we had the Kaikoura earthquake, which was a 7.8 Richter shake, which really knocked us around here, damaged the houses and some of the farm infrastructure. So dealing with those adverse events in business takes quite a bit of resilience. And so I started jotting down things that helped me, and there were 10 to start with, and then after a while they grew and they're now up to 40. And I'm going to run through those. Some of them are my own, some of them I've heard around conferences, and I hear someone say something that really resonates and helps. So the 40 are something that I use, talk to people about. I hope you get something out of them. They're not all my own. Some of them I pick up from other people as I'm out and about. Henry Ford is one that I really like his quotes. I own a vintage Ford Model A, and so his view on business and how to motivate yourself comes out a couple of times. Hope you enjoy them. Thank you. We're about 2/3 of the way up our farm, or about 500 metres above sea level. So make a list of jobs and cross them off as you achieve them. Sometimes the enormity of a task is so big that you just don't know where to start, but breaking it down into smaller bites really works well. And even if you don't get the whole job done in the time that you expected you would, if you can cross off aspects of it or bits of it, it actually feels better because you're achieving something. The next point is, if you get tired, and when you're under stress that's what happened, don't sleep in, but go to bed earlier. I find that if you sleep in, all it does is actually make you more tired. So what I do is just bring the time when I go to bed earlier, but get up at the same time and get going. Next point, if you've got dead stock, and this might not be quite so relevant in Wales, but if you've got dead stock, move them and get them out of sight straight away. I find if you see the same dead animal for a couple of days before you get time to shift it, it has a much bigger adverse effect on you than if you moved it as soon as you saw it. When you're under stress or struggling a little bit, one thing that I find really helps is if you do something for someone else. Often you think that the benefit is actually the receiver, but I believe the benefit actually is much greater for the giver. It's that most warm, sincere feeling when you do something for someone else and they appreciate it. It really does help. Alcohol, and this is a tricky one. My advice here is to keep alcohol consumption to exactly the same level, or approximately the same level, pre-adverse event. Trying to solve a problem by drinking more actually doesn't help at all, and those decisions that you make during your drinking session or the next day, you might think they're better, but in actual fact they're not. So share your thoughts, work as a team with your spouse, your son and your daughter, your farm manager. A problem shared is a problem halved, and often you actually clarify your thinking in your own mind, and it's amazing how if you share your thinking, it really can be quite beneficial. Take lots of photos. We carry a camera with us every day in the form of a phone, and those little things that you can capture and store away, put them on a file. I find it's really therapeutic, or it's an advantage to look at photos of a really wet year when you're in the middle of a drought, or even normal everyday things when you're under stress can highlight or move you to a point where you know that things will get back to normal at some stage. Those photos, you don't have to print them out, but perhaps store them digitally somewhere that you can look at them, and it can be quite relaxing. From time to time, take a deep breath. This is the one thing we can learn from smokers, and that's stitch in time says 9. When you're in your teens or your 20s, you often rush into stuff, and about halfway through, if you'd just done a little bit more planning at the start, it might have meant that you would have finished a little bit quicker. So just every now and again, take a deep breath. Where am I? What am I trying to achieve? Is this the best way to do it? It can have a big effect on the outcome. Once a month, and perhaps if it's not possible, even once every 2 months, stay one night off the farm. This is probably really tricky when you're an owner operator and you're the only one working there, or you have young children. It's easier to stay at home, but it's really good to move yourself out of your personal situation, both geographically and psychologically, and just take a night away. Treat yourself to a meal out or whatever it is that you find special. That for me can be really something that you can look forward to. So the benefit is not just on the day that you do it, but even the week or the 10 days running up to it, it can be really good. So where possible, have fun. We have snowstorms here, and take the kids out, toboggan. After the Christchurch earthquake or the Kaikoura earthquakes, we noticed that one of the things that where children were stressed, they get their lead from their parents. And sometimes it was their parents' stress that was being displayed through their children. So whilst you shouldn't insulate your children from life, etc., but you can perhaps filter a little bit. So get out and about, have fun with whatever you've got in your farming environment. Those are the memories that your children often recite back to you later in life. Even though you're under stress, they actually remember the fun bit. You probably remember the stressful bit. This is the woolshed, and I spend a lot of time in here, so for me it's a place of comfort or also hard work. So life is special, celebrate what it is, burn the candle at both ends, use the nice lingerie, the nice sheets, celebrate where you are now. Life is too short to wait for the special day. One of the things I've noticed that the people that are happiest are those that are really enjoying where they are now in life. The next stage of life will always have its good bits and its not so good bits, but enjoy and be happy where you are now. Another thing that's just quite important, and I think we probably all know people that fall into this trap, is don't be an ostrich. A wound treated with neglect just gets worse. So pay bills on time. Make sure that you make decisions, even if it's a tough decision. Usually if it's made earlier, it has a better outcome than if it's put off. Something that is delayed gets worse. So don't be an ostrich, deal with problems when they occur, and don't be afraid to seek advice if that is going to help. An adverse event provides an opportunity and a challenge. So try and turn some aspect of it to your advantage. For instance, in a drought, you can get your vehicles all the way around the farm. So we put gravel out on the tracks and around water troughs and gateways that we can't get to when it's too wet. The other thing is that I think is be flexible. So over prepare and then go with the flow. Don't stress if things don't go according to plan. Inevitably something will crop up that wasn't expected. And so don't worry about it, don't stress, over prepare and then go with the flow. You record the event. You think you won't forget, but you do. So write down what worked and what didn't work. So these records will be for the next generation and for yourself. It's quite good when you're in the event for a second time or a third time later in life to read how you handled it last time, and that can give you a real boost when you actually come across some ideas that you'd forgotten that works well. Use modern technology where possible. So I'm thinking here the internet, GPS, communicating with people. There's a whole lot of tools in the toolbox to handle adverse events that we didn't have years ago. So you might as well take advantage of it. Another point is advisors, make sure that you seek advice. There's nothing wrong with asking advice, and if you've got a good advisor that's a bit tough on you in tough times, you've probably got a good advisor. At the time, it sometimes seems really hard to take criticism about what you're not doing right, but in actual fact, if you look back on that, sometimes those tough decisions that you were suggested that you made and you did make turned out really well. Another one that I like and I use a lot is write down your goals, set goals, perhaps business and personal, write them down and work out ways you can achieve them. The old saying that if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. Some people don't like setting goals for themselves because they're too far away, and perhaps by the time you actually get there they may be unimportant, but at least it'll be something to strive for, something for you to get out of bed in the morning, satisfaction when you get part of them achieved. Contact a friend once a month, someone that you haven't talked to in the last 12 months. Friends are the family that we choose for ourselves. They're outside the event that you're going through, and therefore chatting to them can put a different perspective on what's going on. It's never quite so bad when you look from the outside in. You're involved in it, and so talking to someone that's on the outside, that friend that you know from university days or school days, can be really therapeutic. You are tough and capable, so live, breathe and work it. Believe in yourself. Everyone makes mistakes. There will be problems, but you are capable and the people around you are capable, and I think believing in yourself that you can do things can be really helpful. Another one that I think helps is always look forward. Experience is the only thing that you should take from the past. So if you're always looking over your shoulder, you're bound to walk into something. And I think we probably all know people that look backwards a lot. It has its place, but look forward, and because you will live the rest of your life in the future, and that's what you should focus on. Okay, we're in the stone yards, which is about the middle of the farm. We've got 4 sets of stockyards on the property, so we don't have to move the stock very far to them. So don't be scared of failure or success. Every type of business has its challenges, and if being in business was easy, everyone would be in business. Henry Ford once said, failure is the opportunity to try again with more knowledge. So it's look at it that way rather than you didn't get it quite right. Be optimistic, but with a touch of realistic. Employ those people to do the jobs that you don't like, and try to do the jobs that you do like. It's not rocket science to work out that a job that you enjoy you do better than one you don't. And I remember when I first started working back at home, I was busy trying to save money doing the $20 an hour jobs when I should have been doing the overseeing jobs that paid $50 an hour or even more than that. Things were going wrong when I was trying to do the jobs I didn't enjoy. Everything in moderation, including excess. I think this is an Oscar Wilde quote, I'm not too sure, but it is okay to have a blowout occasionally, and I do as well. If you think you can, and if you think you can't, you're probably right. It's another Henry Ford quote. And so try and go approach a task in a positive way and try and make sure that you have the best frame of mind to do it. If you approach something with the expectation that you're going to fail, then it will increase the chance of failure. Life's never fair. Get used to it. Don't spend too much time worrying about what doesn't seem to be fair. Concentrate on those things that you can influence and run with those that you can't. Look after your staff. Without them and without your health, you've got very little. So look after your own health, look after your staff, the people around you, and what makes your business function. Don't make decisions by your neighbours' actions. Run your business as your own business. And if you do make a mistake, stand up and be proud of your mistakes and get on with it and rectify it. If you make some of your decisions around what your neighbours are doing, then it's not necessarily going to fit your farming operation. They have different structures, different protocols, different people working, different ethics. So I think it's really important that you do your own thing rather than other people influencing you around the district. Be honest. That whatever you walk past at the back of your farm or whatever you do when you think no one is watching is the level or the standard that you set for yourself. And it's really easy to be honest and do stuff when people are watching, but true honesty is when you are even consistent throughout everything you do. So when no one's around, that problem that you walk past that you wouldn't do if someone was watching or if it was next to the road is something that I believe is being honest with yourself. It's okay to get angry, it's okay to cry, it's okay for your children to see you show emotion. But then once you've done that, get over it and get on with life and whatever you're doing. Okay, we're now in the Foxdown workshop, which is where we do sort of minor repairs. There's an old saying that a good stockman's never got a tidy workshop because he's always out about around his farm, but I hope that's not the case with us. You don't have to win every argument. Agree to disagree. I think probably as you get a little bit of age and maturity, you realise that some things you can just let go. It doesn't matter. If a relationship has to be secret, you probably shouldn't be in it. I think that one speaks for itself reasonably well. But have a think about that. So if a relationship has to be secret, you probably shouldn't be in it. Forgive everyone almost every time. Time heals a lot of things. Give time some time. What people think of you is none of your business, so don't worry about it. Never miss an opportunity to praise someone, a spouse, son, daughter, worker, farm manager, truck driver. I remember a truck driver turned up here after a long, hot day and he was really good at loading his truck. And I said to him, gosh, you're really good at that. And you could see how it absolutely made his day and was so easy for me to do. So never miss an opportunity to praise. Choose an advisor or a mentor and stick with their advice. If you ask too many people what they think about the best course of action is, it can become really confusing. When I first started managing here, I chose one of my parents' good friends who was successful in business, successful in farming, and he gave me just a few little points on what to do. You don't have to run with all of his ideas. You've got to put your own flavour to that. But it's really good to have someone in your life, it's a little bit of a foundation you can just go back to ask advice for when you need it from time to time, but only have one or perhaps two. Don't ask too many people. A friend of mine's father made the point, you can fall out with two people, but as soon as it's three, start looking at yourself. That little bit of navel gazing never does any harm. And If I want to know what sort of person someone is, a farmer or wherever, I ask them, how do you get on with your neighbours, or how do you get on with everyone at work? And if they get on well with everybody, it usually means that they're a good person as well. But if everyone, all their neighbours, they've got 7 or 8 of them and 5 or 6 of them they don't get on with, the problem might lie with that particular person. It's worth thinking about. And finally, the measure of a person is not where they stand in times of comfort, but how well they do in times of challenge and adversity. That is the measure of the person. So thank you for listening to this. I hope you've got something out of these points. We love the Welsh, even if we in New Zealand can play rugby a little bit better than you guys. But when COVID-19 finishes, or when you can travel again, please come and visit us here. Thanks.